A few useful things to know before you start your pico. Yes people, what's good and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new to the channel guys, make sure you click the bell icon so you get notifications when I upload a new video. So let's talk about this pico reef guys. So I've had several variations of this pico reef and I've gone through a myriad of issues. Now finally I think the pico is at a point where the LPS route is actually working. So I'm just going to break down a few things that I overlooked so that maybe you can get information from my experiences as to how you can be successful having a pico as well. Okay guys, so before you even think about going down the route of having a pico, there are a few bits of equipment that I think you should have and are essential to having a pico. To start off, I think you need a decent heater or small enough heater that could heat up the water, because it's a small volume of water. Ensure that you have the tank that you require, so the correct size that you want. Some rock for the aquascape and some sand. And the reason I think sand is quite good is to have some surface area for bacteria and a decent light. Now you can go Billy Basics, have a 50-pound light that is geared towards marine equipment, or sorry, marine animals, but I prefer going down a more controllable light like an AI Prime if your budget does allow. Another important thing to have is a decent return pump. Now to have a decent return pump will just allow you to have a bit more flow into your pico, because it is a marine aquarium and flow is essential for corals if you choose to have corals in there, right? So don't forget guys to do your research, ensure that you have the right equipment, heater, decent light, good circulation or return pump to allow that circulation for your pico. Another thing to consider guys is what livestock would you have in your pico? Are you going to have a shrimp in there, or some tiny gobies, or a pair of clownfish like myself? So if you choose to have clownfish, just be aware that the clownfish don't stay tiny forever. They will grow, they will get too big for your system, so have a contingency plan in place where you can move them on to your shop, fellow reefer, or you can transfer them to a bigger system, right? I do have an anemone in there. Just ensure that the environment is suitable to have such animals or animals like that in a little pico. Yeah, so just take your time, be patient, plan carefully, see what livestock you can have in there, and then add them slowly. Another top tip guys, when you do add your corals to your system, if you have LPS or softies, whatever you have in there, ensure that you are feeding them in some way. Now I do have some LPS corals in there and I do feed them LPS coral pellets by Vitalis, and this seems to be sufficient for the corals. Now ensure that you don't overfeed, which is very important because you don't want to have too much waste in your system. Now a top tip guys, you can feed your corals. I would say feed before you do your 100% water change. It just makes sense, because if you're adding waste to your system when you do your 100% water change, you'll just take out that waste. So it's a win-win really, in my opinion. So another top tip, feed before you do your 100% water change to ensure that your nutrient level is kept low as possible in a pico reef. Now another important thing guys, and I always recommend this from now on, because I failed at this in the past, 100% water changes all the time, at least once a week. Yeah, if you're doing your water change, get all the old water out, put some fresh water in, and now just help you manage your nutrients. It'll bring certain things back, certain nutrients or certain elements back into the aquarium for your LPS and your other corals. So trust me guys, 100% water changing is dead easy on a small tank like that. You literally just probably have to put a towel around the base of the pico itself, get all your old water out of the system and put your fresh water back in. Shouldn't take you more than 50 minutes to sort that out for a tiny tank like this guys. So water change all the way. Okay guys, so another thing that I ensured that I really paid close attention to was my filtration. Now it is a tiny tank, but it doesn't mean that my filtration shouldn't be robust. So I do stir up my sand bed quite frequently to keep it all nice and clean, which leads me to the first chamber with the filter floss. So all the detritus gets collected in that, all the uneaten food gets collected into that there, and that gets changed 2 to 3 times a week. Middle chamber have my heater, some Ciprax at the bottom, and some chemipure blue to keep my water crystal clear. that is it for my filtration. And this here, with good maintenance and regular servicing of this part, these two chambers here, have kept my pico ticking over, my sandbed clean. Now, having a decent light, guys, it's all down to budget. I chose to splurge a little, get myself a decent light so I have controllability over when my light comes on, when it goes off for my corals. And also I do have a custom light schedule on here that I've just painstakingly taken time to see the reaction of certain corals, to apply channel levels for the light throughout the day. So if you guys would like to get my light level or my light schedule for my AI Prime, just give me a shout below and I'll email that over to you guys. So easy fix for my pico reef here, guys. So it's filtration, 100% water changes, decent light the schedule, and just patience, guys. Yeah, I've learned a lot over the last year or since having this pico, and it's just proving that, you know, with patience and understanding that, you know, you can have a decent little tank. Right, guys, so thanks for watching. This is Narayan for HC Aquatics Reefing. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, guys. I'll see you next time.